All right, very good. Well, thanks again for having me on. And good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So, as Ahsan mentioned, my name is Sam Nasr, and today we're going to be discussing a little bit of overview of Azure Speech Services. So, a little bit about me. I've been a software developer since 1995. I'm a senior software engineer for NIS Technologies, and I've been certified with several certifications from Microsoft. Currently, I run the Cleveland C Sharp and VB.NET user group, as well as the .NET study group and the Azure Cleveland user group. In addition, I've authored several articles for Visual Studio Magazine, and I've been a 5-time Microsoft MVP. I'd also like to plug, if I may, the Azure Cleveland user group. So we meet every second Wednesday. We discuss a variety of topics related to Azure, and we're meeting online, so it's open to everyone from every part of the world. You can find the meeting information posted at meetup.com, Azure-Cleveland-Meetup. So, diving right into it, we're going to be talking about the overview of speech services. And when we look at the historical methods of using for computer input, we've went from the good old-fashioned punch cards to the keyboard to swipe and the touch screen, and now we've migrated over into actually speaking to our applications. So we're going to look at how we're going to be able to use speech and be able to control our applications that way. So this is part of the Azure Cognitive Services, and this is an umbrella that basically covers 5 different areas of cognitive services. Today we're going to be looking only under the speech category, and within that speech category, it's divided up into 4 different subcategories. You have speech to text, text to speech, speech translation, and then speaker recognition. There's actually a few more services, but we won't have time to cover those today. So getting into the first one, speech to text. What this allows us to do is to use a pre-built AI model to convert spoken words into text. And this can be done either real-time or asynchronously. We can utilize our current microphones within our laptops or PCs. We can utilize pre-recorded audio files, or we can access blob storage. In addition, we can create and train custom speech models. So in the cases where I have domain jargon or specific words for a specific industry, or maybe words that have silent letters, I can customize a speech model so that it can recognize that those words and be able to convert them to the right text. And so once I do that, then I can integrate the ability to convert speech into text into my custom applications. And if you're interested, there's also a demo web application that's available over on the Microsoft sites. So to use it in our C# code, we're going to essentially be utilizing an audio config class, and this helps us to leverage a variety of different methods. For example, being able to access the microphone, read from an audio file, set the language that we're going to be speaking, a variety of different things. So let's go ahead and dive right into a demo. And first and foremost, what I need to do in order to be able to utilize this, I need to be able to create an Azure key. Well, let me backtrack for just a moment. So I can go to speech to text on the Microsoft website, and like I said, there's a demo web app that's available. So here you see there's some pre-written text, and I can select speak. And if I start talking, it will automatically take that text and then convert it. Let's try that again. There we go. And we're done. So I'm going to hit stop now. Okay, so this is a demo application. Now, how can I leverage the same technology in my application? To do that, the first thing that I need to do is to be able to create a resource group. So I'll go over to my Azure portal. I just logged in. I'm going to go ahead and create a new resource group. I have it under my subscription for pay-as-you-go, and I'm going to call this Demo RG for resource group. I'm going to keep it in the Eastern US region. Review and create, and click the create button. Okay, very easy to create a resource group. Once I have that created, now I can go into that group, and now I can add in a specific service. And as you might have guessed, the service that I'm looking for is the speech service. So I'm going to search for speech, and the first one that comes up is the one from Microsoft, the Azure service. I'll go ahead and select that, and then select create. And again, I'm going to point to my resource group, and I will call this demo. Put it under my name, Demo Sam Nasr, just to make sure that there isn't one that exists like it. And you'll notice that under the pricing tier, I have a standard. There's also a free pricing tier that's available as well. So basically, I would just go ahead and create that. And then once that's created, it'll just take a second to deploy. But once that's created, it's going to provide me with a set of keys that I can then use in my application. Go ahead and close that window, and then go to the resource. So this is the resource that I just created. It's the speech service called Demo Sam Nasr, and I have keys and endpoints. What I'm going to do is just simply copy one key here, and then I'm going to use that in my code. So jumping into Visual Studio, and let me drag it over here. We have the speech to text. And this is a very simplistic piece of code. You can find it over on the Microsoft site. I took it from there, modified it slightly. Essentially, that key that I just copied would replace this key that's here. And then you specify the region. And then I use that in my from subscription method in my speech config class. So looking at my main method, basically all I'm doing is I'm leveraging the speech config where I am instantiating a new class. Excuse me, I am, pardon me, sorry about that. I am utilizing the speech config by utilizing the from subscription method. And then from there, I use the audio config class, and there I'm configuring it to use my default microphone. And then I have a speech recognizer that will automatically listen to the microphone, pull out any speech, and then make the call asynchronously. So it's going to make the call to this recognizer async. And what this is going to do is essentially send that audio that it picked up from the microphone, send it over to Azure using the keys that I specified here. And then it's going to return back with a set of text and the results. And then I'm going to display that out onto the console window. Now, all these methods are available through the Microsoft Cognitive Services Speech SDK or NuGet package, as you see, as I have commented here. So once I have that code in place, now I can select to start running it. And let me get this out of the way. Okay, let's try another method. So speech to text, we're going to set this as our startup project. And we want to go ahead and run that. And so there's my command window, and I'm going to say testing 1, 2, 3. So as you can tell, because I didn't pause before I started it, it just picked up every word that I said in the microphone, and then it displayed it on here. Let's try that again. Testing 1. I need some help from a manager. Done. So as you can tell, it picks up everything that I say, converts it into text. Now I can take that text and utilize it in a variety of different ways. I can send an email. I can use it in my logic flow to be able to decipher what it is that the user wants. but this is the first step in essentially interacting with your application, taking that spoken text, converting it into words. So that's a very simplistic demo of the speech to text. Now let's move on to the other services. We're a little bit tight on time, so we'll touch on those. And in the next one that we have, let's continue back to our PowerPoint. Oh, before we continue, just one gotcha that I wanted to cover. So within speech to text, the accuracy depends on any ambient noise that I may have in the background or any specific domain jargon. So if I utilize a word like a croissant, for example, that's a French word with a silent letter at the end, it may not pick that up. If I use things that are more specific towards electrical engineering, for example, like a multiplexer, it may not be able to spell that correctly after it hears it. So I can train a custom model to be able to pick up on those domain-specific words. Okay, so the next one is going to be speech translation. And what this allows me to do is to be able to take speech, convert it to either text or spoken speech, and translate it. It'll recognize the results, meaning it'll recognize the language that I'm speaking in, and then it can translate it to a specific language, or I can translate it into multiple target languages. And so essentially it takes the spoken text, converts it into translation or translated text, and then displays it out on the screen for me. So we'll step through the demo of that. And with this project, actually with this solution, I should say, there are 3 separate projects: speech to text, speech translation, and then text to speech. So let's move on to speech translation. And we'll make that my startup project. And again, same thing that I had done before in the previous project, where I am importing or utilizing the NuGet package for the cognitive services speech. And then I'm referencing the namespaces that I need here. And then within my main method, this is where everything starts. So again, utilizing the key and the region in my from subscription method, I am utilizing the speech translation config, which is a class that helps me to configure everything that I need for my spoken speech. I'm saying that I wanted to recognize English as the spoken language, and the target language that I wanted to translate to is Italian, represented by the IT here. I'm going to be reading from the default microphone using the audio config class that I mentioned earlier. And then I'm going to call the translation recognizer, which again sends that audio over to Azure, and then I'm able to get the results back and then display them to the user. So you'll see that this translation recognizer.async, translation recognizer.recognize once async. This is the method that is being leveraged here. And once we make the call asynchronously to Azure, then we get the results back, and then we display them in this infinite loop. And so to see a demo of that, let's go ahead and run that. Hello. So there, it recognized the word hello as the recognized text in English, and it translated the text into ciao in Italian. Now, let's try another example. We said that we can target multiple languages, so let's do this. Now we're going to add French to the mix. So let's go ahead and run that again. Hello. Now it took hello, recognized in English, converted it and translated into Italian as well as French. So now it gives me ciao and bonjour. Goodbye. Again, arrivederci and au revoir. Pardon my poor French pronunciation. But you get the idea. Essentially, I'm able to leverage these services to be able to convert to multiple languages, going from speech to text. Let me pause here and see if there's any questions. Ahsan, do you see any questions on your end?
Oh.
Okay. Oh, we'll continue on then.
Hi,
The
sir.
last one
Can
that I'll
it
be
be possible
demonstrating.
to? I have one question. Can it be
Sure.
possible to translate into Bangla?
It is, but I have to look up the initials for that.
Okay. Thank you.
And we'll talk more about supported languages in just a little bit. The last one that I wanted to demonstrate is the text-to-speech. And what this allows for is to be able to translate real-time speech synthesis, converting from text into spoken language. So we started by going from speech to text, translating the text, and now we're going the other way around by taking text and converting it into speech. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it does real-time speech synthesis, where it will take the text and synthesize it into actual spoken language, similar to how a human would talk. It is not the robotic voice, hello, I welcome you. It is very fluent, very fluid. So it allows for asynchronous synthesis of
Sam,
long
there is a question. Sorry,
Yes,
Sam, for interruption. There is a question that is it possible to translate a video into text?
Yes, so it can take long files. Essentially, you'd have to extract the audio from the video and be able to upload the audio file.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Feel free to jump in with questions at any point in time, or comments for that matter. Okay. Now, as far as the text-to-speech, it'll take the asynchronous synthesis of long audio files, so anything 10 minutes or longer. In addition, it has pre-built neural voices where we can select a specific voice and be able to synthesize the text according to that voice with that tone. So it could be feminine or it could be masculine. In addition, if I'm not happy with the pre-built models that are available, I can utilize SSML, or speech synthesis markup language, to be able to fine-tune my model so that it can speak with the accent and the tone that I want it to convey to my user. And so with that, let's jump into our last demo. So last one is text-to-speech, and let's go ahead and make that our startup project. So just like we've seen before, we're utilizing the key and the region in the from subscription method. We've also imported in our NuGet package, cognitive-services.speech. And so what we're doing in main is we're getting everything started by specifying the voice that we're going to be utilizing. And GenuNeural is, as you can tell, it's a feminine voice. And that's the default that we're using in this application. And so with that, we make a call to the speech synthesizer, and we pass in the speech config that we configured up here. Then we enter an infinite loop, similar to what we had done in other demos before, where essentially we're reading, we're listening for the user, and then we're sending the text asynchronously to be able to have it synthesized into audio. So here we have the user enter in some text, and then we send it asynchronously, and then we display the results here. Now this output speech synthesis results, that is the method that's defined up here. And what this does is, once it receives the results that were sent to Azure Cognitive Services, then it takes that and then it produces the spoken results out to the user. And so here we check to see that synthesizing has been completed once we get the return call back from Azure. And then we go ahead and play that result out to the user. And so we specify the speech that was synthesized for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a run. So enter some text that you want to speak. Hello, I'm glad to be presenting here today. Now, if you notice, first of all, was everyone able to hear that okay? Hassan? Anyone?
Uh,
I'm sorry?
Oh, not really, not really.
Not really.
So on top of when you share on Teams, on top there's like a button thing that says include system audio. Can you try that?
So I'm looking at Teams now,
It's
and
towards the end. So there's a small button towards the end of that bar that says include system audio.
I don't see that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
But from the web, you can share the screen, and when you share the screen, that button will appear.
Oh, only from the web?
I figured from there, yes.
Okay, I am sharing from my local client. Let me check the app settings. Unfortunately, something I didn't accommodate for. I thought it would be a given, but
No, it's all right. No problem. You can just log in from the web again and just share your screen. It will work.
log
Please
in.
try
So
it out.
I put in a screen share in the chat. Can you have a look? That tells you how to enable that computer sound.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Just go to the chat. I put in a screenshot on how you can include the computer sound. There's like an icon to do that. Can you have a look?
Ah, I see. Okay,
Hopefully that works.
hopefully. All right, let me stop sharing for just a moment. And for some reason, my bar is blank.
Oh, yeah, we are actually seeing that. That's very strange. Try something. When you share again, unshare, and when you click on the share button to share it again, right on top, there's also a button that says include system sounds. So it should be while you're doing this live, but your bar is really blank. So yeah.
Here we go. Include system audio.
So yeah, real-time bugs. Don't worry. In January, I had the same problem here as well, but this time it
Well,
was with sharing black screens.
real-time bugs, but real-time support. So this is good. I like this. I appreciate it. All right, let's try that again. Okay, let's go here.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now?
All right, did
Yes,
that
we
come
can.
Yes,
through?
yes. Now we can
Perfect.
hear.
Excellent. All right, so as you can tell, very fluid. It's as if natural spoken language from a human being, not the robotic voice. Let's go ahead and give it another example. Let me just copy this. Just a sample text.
Hello again, when can we meet again? I'm really enjoying presenting to a great group like you all.
Okay, so that's an example of Jenny. Now there are many voices that I can use. And to give you an idea of the various voices that are available, let's go over into the Microsoft sites. And then we go over into Azure Cognitive Services. And there is the text-to-speech. And again, there's the demo of it, where I can specify a variety of different languages. There's Bangla, Bengali, Bosnian, and a whole host of other languages that I can pick up on. In addition, the various voices. Where did Jenny go? Okay, so can't find it here, but if you go over into, I just love technical difficulties, don't you all? Okay, so there's a speech synthesis, language support. Depending on what service you're utilizing, whether it's speech to text or speech translation or language identification, there are various language models that are supported. And if you notice, within every language, there are different cultures that are specified. So here within English, we have Australian, Canadian, from Great Britain, and so on and so forth. So different dialects can be accommodated as well by selecting that specific language. I'm about at my time, so let me go ahead and go through some wrap-up slides. Okay, so what we covered today was basically overview of speech services. We looked at 3 different services: speech to text, speech translation, and then text to speech. Here are some references. There's a blog post that I wrote regarding how and why you should use speech to text. The pricing model that's listed over on the azure.microsoft.com, and then the supported languages. If you find any of this interesting, or you're more interested in having a class being taught, I'm also an instructor for NIS Technologies. So we do teach classes on AI, artificial intelligence, and cognitive services. So feel free to check out our website. In addition, if you have any questions, you want to check out my blog, you want to email me, all my links are available through Linktree. But more specifically, you can email me directly, snasr@nistechnologies.com. You can also find me on Twitter @SamNasr, and my blog link is samnasr.blogspot.com. And lastly, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn. So I thank you all for your time. I look forward to presenting again, and thanks to Ahsan for inviting me for a second time. Highly appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, Sam. It's a nice presentation, and we have learned many more new things. Thank you very much.
Thank you.